Good afternoon. Once again, John Verlin with On Demand Advertising Solutions, our digital marketing update video podcast. This is number 50. And today I was going to talk about most asked questions a lot of small business owners have. I found a good piece from the Association of Specialized and Cooperative Library Agencies. It put together a number of great questions a lot of small business owners have, and some discussions of some of the responses. And I was going to do that today, but I had something else come up. I thought I'm going to go ahead and share that first. So next podcast, I will talk about that. You might make a note of that, tune in, so to speak, and we'll go over some of the most asked questions small businesses have had and some of the answers you might want to consider. If you're starting a business, thinking about it, or you currently have a business and you're scratching your head, we might be able to touch on some things that you might get a lot of benefit from. A number of months ago, I had a gentleman named Larry who lives in Lenexa, Kansas, has a service business. And he was responded to a link I had on my website for a risk-free offer. And by the way, if you want to see that, it looks like a big multicolored plop in the water. I'm not sure what that is, but it looks kind of cool. But it's a risk-free offer. Click that on, and you can take advantage of it, and I'd be glad to chat with you about your business. But Larry contacted me, and he said, when I met with him, he said, I've done this a number of years. I used to do a lot of branding with the corporate stuff we got, but I found over the years I needed to stand out more from my competition, even other people that work with this company, representing them, because he had his own little niche and he really wanted to promote that. So great. So as we talked, he said, I really like or want another set of eyes to kind of review what has worked, what hadn't, and that's the whole point of this risk-free offer kind of thing that I agreed to meet with him and talk to him about. Because I said, we all need this, Larry. We all need another perspective on our marketing. And this is changing so fast. He said just in the last few years, what he used to do, he did a lot of networking, chamber, Rotary, maybe Lions clubs, I don't know. He did, I think he did some direct mail. He probably did some print and certain business-to-business type publications. But he said it's just harder and harder to stand out and get noticed. And the more we talked about all this, it kind of brought me back to my early days of radio. And I said, Larry, when I was in radio, I would throw out an idea and I'd say, why don't we have you do the ad? A 60-second radio ad. We'll do a vignette, make it like a little mini radio show. And the client was like, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And then they'd say, they'd be a little gun shy. And I said, don't worry, let's just try it. And I even had one lady who did it who was hypoventilating during the ad. She voiced it, and it was actually embarrassing almost. And I after she did it, I felt like I needed to tell her, I don't think we should air this, but we did. And a week later, I thought, one of my colleagues heard it, said, John, you got to talk to her. That sounds really bad. I mean, it sounds like she's about to pass out. And I said, I know. So I went to her and I said, how's everything going? Oh, wonderful. I've had about 10 people come in from the ad. Really? Well, oh, great. What did they say? Oh, they loved it. They said, you sounded so convincing, friendly, blah, 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 blah. So I never told her. A year later, she was renewing her contract, her annual contract. And I said, you remember about a year ago I came in here and we talked about your first ad? She goes, yeah. I said, do you know what I was going to tell you? She said, no. And I said, I was going to tell you we need to pull it because you sounded like you were hyperventilating. And she started laughing. And she had done some other ads since then and was much more comfortable. But it worked because people believed her. She sounded real and authentic. So when I told Larry about this, he's just all getting excited. Now I said, Larry, times have changed, and because of this, we can create your own little Larry business radio show, a podcast. kind of like I'm doing, these video podcasts. We can create that for you. You can do that. And you do one a week, maybe. You can then host that on your website or a blog, and then send that every week out, promote it to your social media followers and people who have liked you on Facebook. He's getting all excited. Wow, that's a great idea. That's brilliant. Did you think of that, John? Well, yeah. I said, no, Larry, this goes back to the early days of radio. I mean, think of Jack Benny and all these radio shows people would listen to. They're hilarious, a lot of them, the comedy ones. But it still connects. But my point is, he's getting all excited now because I said, Larry, think about this. You'll have your own radio show. You can promote it through your social media channels, host it on your blog, or create a blog. That is your radio station. That is your Hollywood studio now. You could actually contact a radio station and pay for an actual radio show if you really wanted to, if it was a talk format, but this might be a little cheaper because we're backward engineering what used to be where they would do a radio show and then podcast it on either the radio station website or blog or the client's website or blog. Let's just go ahead and keep it cheap and start out doing this because the whole world's your oyster now when you have it on your blog, and you can promote it however you want to. Matter of fact, we could even create a couple of animated videos about your business, place those on your Facebook page, pin it to the top so everybody sees it, put them on your blog, promote them through social media just like the radio show. And now people are seeing animated videos about your business in 60 seconds. And we can feature different segments of your business through those also. This is all add-on. He's getting really excited. John, those are great ideas. And I said, now you could even go out, reprint your business cards, and put Larry's radio show at www. And as you give these out to people at networking, tell them about, I have my own podcast radio show. I might actually like to interview you if you don't mind. Oh, now they'll get all excited. And you interview them about their business and how your insurance or whatever it is you're selling might benefit them. Then they want a copy of that podcast and they want to send that out to all their customers, promoting the fact that they're on your radio show. And he's getting all excited. And I just said, Larry, this is why this concept of creating your own content, this is rich content when you put it into a video form. Even though it's audio, you make a video podcast featuring images of your business or even a video, but it's a radio show they're listening to because it's a podcast. And of course, we talked about what I'm doing on my website, same basic thing. And we talked about some things, how that could tie into everything he's doing with his other advertising. Your direct mail, you put that link, promote the fact they can go 24/7 to your blog and listen anytime, night or day. And by the way, upcoming next month, we're going to cover these topics. Sell it and promote it just like it's a Netflix movie. But it's your radio show. It's your content. It's an answer to your clients' and customers' questions. And you're either going to feature them on your show as well as other prospects. You'll contact them and invite them on your show to be interviewed. 10-minute segments, 15 minutes. He is just, John, I love this. The only problem is, he goes, I don't know how to do all this, and how do I do it, and I don't have the time. At any rate, we talked, and I said, well, that's kind of what I do, and if so we talked about what I charge and all that, and he was, that's really great, it's very reasonable, et cetera, et cetera. So these are some things to think about if you're trying to get some traction. Changing up your marketing a bit, but still use the elements you've done in the past that have worked for you. Whether it's print, TV, radio, direct mail, you can still direct that traffic through those mediums to your website and or a link to your blog and get to hear more, as Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Records talked about. They call it a dive deep experience. They're actually, I believe I have a blog well, I have it on a couple of the blog things on my services, where they actually love the idea of interviewing business owners on podcasts, and they call it a dive deep experience because their passengers, who a lot of them are business flyers in Virgin Atlantic Airways, would now have time, 10, 20, 15, 30 minutes to listen to successful entrepreneurial stories on these podcasts. It's very similar to what I'm suggesting, that they are finding very unique now because they're seeing the benefit of being able to tell a deeper, they call it a dive deep story. Or maybe it's a deep dive, I don't know. But at any rate, it's a great way to highlight and focus your expertise in segments that you can keep doing every week and promote it as a radio show and the upcoming whatever it is you specialize in. So something to consider, and keep in mind that this is also rich content that Google and search engines now are recognizing more to give favorable treatment, because it's an answer to questions a lot of people are going to ask about on their phones when they say, hey, Google, how do I do such and such? Your podcast might pop up as a response because you've made a video out of it rather than just an audio podcast. And this is what Larry and I talked about, using his images of his family, his customers, him at work. I mean, all these things, can really stand out, and people see that while they're listening to your video podcast. At any rate, it's a lot of fun to do and promote, and you can do multiple channels to promote it, multiple ways through, multiple platforms and media. All media. You can use, like I say, TV, radio, print, direct mail, magazine ads, all can point to your website or blog to promote this content that you're creating for people to enjoy and consume. John Verlin 12 at AT&T.net is the email if you have any questions or thoughts. Love to hear from you. OnDemandAdvertisingSolutions.com is a website to visit. And like I say, if you are interested, click on that risk-free offer at the bottom part of my website and get another pair of eyes, maybe looking at your business and what can be done to complement or change or improve things you've done and helping you to grow your business. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.